Gracias. Well, beloved ones, we are all immigrants here. Yep. In Mexico. Well, wait, no. Except the musicians. Hey, they are Mexicans. And maybe somebody in the audience? Adriana. And here. Okay, good. Adriana is taking Las Llaves del Reino with me, Keys to the Kingdom on Tuesday. So we have been blessed, specifically with moving to one of the oldest towns in Mexico, Ajijic. And I say one of the most beautiful also. I'm sure you whoa! You see? Yeah, it's a place with a long tradition of festivals and how you call that? Fireworks in Spanish? Cohetes. We hear that all the time. We have here in Ajijic live music, waterfalls, arts, crafts, beautiful clothing, great food, parades, and awesome weather. And I can go on and on and on about what we experience. Actually, here in Ajijic, in the winter, immigrants make up more than half of the population. More than half. I personally know how difficult it is to communicate with locals. Oh, yeah. It's because I am an immigrant in the United States also. And here also. Also, I'm no Mexican. I don't have that blessing. So, especially if we don't speak their language. I'm sure each one of you have experienced some difficulties. Even for me, actually, my Dominican, Puerto Rican, Spanish has encountered some challenges in my everyday life. I remember one day I moved to my house and we have a gardener and he come and says, Señora, we need to clean up the alberca. And I say, alberca? We don't have an alberca in this house. In my country, in the Dominican Republic and in Puerto Rico, an alberca is like a small, I don't know if you if you can hear, there are some fireworks, really loud here. So alberca is like a small something that you can move and put some water. And I say, no, we don't have an alberca. He says, yes, we have an alberca here in the house. And he looks at me like I'm a little bit not. And I say, where? I haven't seen it. And he's looking at me really, he's like, in the front of the house. I say, no, we don't. And he's like a little bit shy. And I say, show me. I walk and say, la piscina, the pool. So they call it here, alberca. And in my country, we call it, and I can go on and on and on to tell you how many things I have to learn. Spanish, and it's my language, so I can't imagine the difficulties that you all are having here when Spanish is your second language. Actually, we are so accustomed here in Ajijic to speak to speak English. All of you, my husband speaks English, as you know. So we are all so accustomed to speak English that we sometimes forget that Spanish is the native language here. I once heard somebody become offended because she went to a store and nobody spoke English. How is that possible? Oh my God, those people didn't speak English. I looked at her and I mean, she was really outraged. And I looked at her lovingly, reminded her that we live in Mexico, and in Mexico, the population speaks Spanish. So, actually, have you taken the time, now that we all live here, no? And I know we all are deliriously happy here in Ajijic. So, have you taken the time to reflect? Yeah, let's all do this. Oh my God. Talking about parades. No, seriously, have you taken the time to reflect on how you personally feel about our Mexican brothers and sisters? It's just perfect. So have you taken the time to reflect actually about anyone from any part of the world? To reflect on those things, regardless color, race, language, social status, and everything that speaks of separation in this human experience. It's important. So here, in unity and in every unity around the world, we teach that we are all children of God. Woo! Y punto. We are all children of God. Okay, the second principle of unity says that everyone has a spark of divinity that speaks of our divine origin. And when I say spark, I imagine that spark like huge and really big. So everyone has a spark of divinity that speaks of our divine origin. A divinity that we have forgotten and which is our task to remember. That's why we pray, we meditate, we go to classes, we come to Sunday services. In chapter 26 of A Course in Miracles, I'm going to read something from there that says, think but how holy you must be from whom the voice for God calls lovingly unto your brother, that you make awake in him the voice that answers to your call. And it keeps saying, and think how holy he must be when in him sleeps your own salvation. However much you wish he be condemned, God is in him. Well, A Course in Miracles uses male pronouns, but we all know that it refers to everybody. I, you, he, she, we, they. So what is this reading saying? Who are these words talking about? Well, the Course says that everyone shares the mind that contains the voice for God, which is the Holy Spirit, along with our own spirit, as well as that of all our brothers and sisters. Everybody, no exceptions. Everybody. Metaphysically and spiritually speaking, this paragraph is addressed to all of us, the unified part of us who resides in perfect peace in God's love. So if I read that quote again, my way, it will say, think about how holy we must be, from whom the voice for God calls lovingly unto our brothers and sisters, which we may awake in them the voice that answers to our call. And think how holy they must be when in them sleeps our own salvation. However much we wish them be condemned, God is in them. Beloved ones, the moment we see the light of Christ within our brothers and sisters, in total awareness of our oneness, we are awake. Y punto. When we are capable to see the light of Christ within our brothers and sisters, in total awareness of our oneness, we are awake. We are one self united to our Creator. Now, in our human experience, we of course have our differences. Different language, beliefs, skin color, taste for good, social status, race, and I can go on and on and on, political beliefs, and on and on. That's our human experience. And my question is, to all of us, how do we overcome our judgments and sometimes prejudice? How do we do that? And how can we embrace our brothers and sisters with whom we cohabit? How can we do that? To become aware of where we live, the people we are sharing this life with, to see beyond our differences. Recently, my husband and I presented a workshop at the Parliament of World Religion, and you know that we were there. A beautiful experience. And the title and theme of our presentation, there were almost 10,000 people in that parliament. The title and theme of our presentation was Embracing Populations That Do Not Speak Your Language. Bilingual, actually, yes. He did it in English, I did it in Spanish, but we are not going to do that here. So I'm going to invite Reverend Sheila. We are going to just show you a little bit of what Jack and I did in the Parliament. We were talking about the cultural differences between Hispanics and American or English speakers. I know that here there's a lot of Canadians and people from Europe, but because my husband is American and I am a Dominican, Puerto Rican, so we did it that way. So let's see. We are going to talk about some cultural differences, and Sheila is going to, Reverend Sheila, the American, what do they do and what we do, the Hispanics.
Okay. This is the fun part. Okay. So you're going to, all right, so some cultural differences regarding cultural norms. When you think of sense of personal space, American English speakers, arm's length is polite. Hugs only with family or close friends or with permission.
We Hispanics, closer than arm length, I assure you. Hugs and peck on the cheek, as common as handshake. I go to the stores and I hug everybody. I mean, the girls that help me with the clothes, and that's our normal.
Well, you're Unity too.
And
so,
I'm Unity, yes. Okay.
So remember, these are generalizations, not for
Right.
everyone, because there are a lot of subcultures. But when you think of formality, American English speakers are more informal. They have short greetings, and you, to address you, is okay, is appropriate for everyone.
Except in the South and say y'all.
That's right, that's right.
For us, it's very conservative, what we call old-fashioned, traditional, respectful. Tú is informal, usted is formal. Even to my parents, I talk to them usted. I mean, respect is ooh.
Lots of
Okay.
respect.
Yes.
So, for interactions for American English speakers, direct communication, say what you want to say, within limits, of course, and undemonstrative, except for some of us.
There are exceptions. Now, Hispanic, indirect communication, politeness to avoid upsetting others, and demonstrative. We talk with the hands,
see-
with our
see-
legs, with our body. I mean, really
I
demonstrative.
thought you were going to hit me with your
Yeah.
hand. I know you would never. Okay. So, interactions for American English speakers, direct oh, wait, we did that. Time, okay. Punctuality. Deadlines are important, time is finite. That's hard for me to get used to.
Yeah. Well, for us, flexible. I mean, really flexible. Punctuality usually not important. Actually, you know, my husband and I lived in Miami for 20 years, and every time we have a celebration, anything, I would tell my family, my Dominican, Puerto Rican family, and our friends, which actually they were from everywhere, Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela. I will tell my family, the celebration is at 5 o'clock, and Jack's family and friends, we will say at 7. Seriously.
They all showed up at the same time.
And they will arrive at the same time. So that's time for us.
For
It's
sure.
true.
Oh, regarding family then, for American English speakers, the nuclear family is very important. Children generally leave home when they're 18.
For us, family has central importance, including extended family, and children live with parents until marriage. That's a custom.
For focus, American English speakers are oriented toward individualism, and independence is valued.
For us, oriented to extended family, loyalty highly valued. So family is important.
Are you relating?
Yeah.
Yes.
Discovering I'm Hispanic.
Oh yeah. No, this is seriously. Actually, Jack and I had a lot of misunderstanding at the beginning. Anything that you say, you are being disrespectful to me, and he's like, what?
So regarding authority and social organization, in American English speakers, equality is important, hierarchy and authority are often challenged, and respect has to be earned.
No, for us, respect for, how you say, hierarchy? Hierarchy, and authority in all forms. So we have to respect older people.
I see some of you nodding your heads like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And General outlook for American English speakers, the individual's control is exalted. Problems exist to be fixed and change is good.
For us, others in control of their destiny, especially parents. Sometimes they decide, okay, you are going to be a physician, you are going to be a lawyer, you are going to be, so it's that liberty, that freedom doesn't exist that much in control over destiny, because and harmony is so valued that children, they are like, oh, okay, sí, okay, sí, papá, sí, mamá. So, sí. There are other differences, but we could go on and on and on. So
We got
we
two
have
more.
two more. Okay.
And we have time.
One, oh yes, the music.
Oh, we got to do that one, right?
Yes,
Music.
yes. Let's see.
What's there?
No, it's
Not yet.
Not yet.
all right. Music and parties. In American English speakers, music is not essential for events, and parties are often rather subdued. And
Well,
Often, not always.
often,
I think you have experienced what what it means celebration for us Hispanics, like here in Mexico. You know that multitude of rhythms, parties tend to include dancing and singing and be loud. I mean, really loud. It's always, even if you go to a party, to a birthday celebration in the house of anybody, be ready. Get ready, because there will be noise.
yeah, we're down on the Malecon, and we hear it all night, loud. Meals. In American English speakers, speed is often emphasized in all meals. Dinner is usually the main meal, and snacks whenever wanted.
Well, Hispanic is literally lunch, a main meal, dinner usually small, and later in the evening, late afternoon, often ritualized with snack and coffee. There's no hurry. Have you been, in restaurants? You can be there 5 hours. If you don't call, hey, I'm leaving, they don't, in US, they see that you finished dinner. Do you want your check? Not here. So, because that's what it's used to.
Yeah.
So you take over from
Okay.
here, my dear. So thank you.
When I moved here, well, I haven't moved yet, have I? But it feels like I have. I was surprised at the welcoming, open arm, big loving hearts of these Mexicans. Hispanics?
Yeah, but we live in Mexico.
But we live in Mexico, so it's okay I say that.
Represent all of us.
They are so gracious, and they walk amongst us, intruders, shall I say? Well, and welcome us. And and us, those of us from a different culture, a different land, a different country, they welcome us, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And an example is walking up and down these narrow sidewalks when there's only room for one of us to get by. Very often I will move aside first, but if I don't, they move aside first and allow us space. And when I move aside, I notice they're very grateful to me and express gratitude toward me for moving aside. So just the sharing of the space on the sidewalk was mind-boggling to me when I moved here. So their manners are just a beautiful thing to behold. So speaking of the politeness and their manners, it is. So you're agreeing with me, some of you. You see that. And all of this brings about a oneness, a cooperativeness, a connection, a unity between us foreigners, and we are the immigrants. We are the outsiders. Did you ever think of that? I never thought of myself as being the immigrant, the outsider, the foreigner. So what a thought. Think of that for a minute. This is their front yard. Mm-hmm.
They're sitting
sitting out there at night, just I'm having to repeat what you're saying, so that's impressive. Yes, very impressive. Thank you, Elizabeth. So it's been a delightful experience for me to go down to the plaza and hang out, sitting on the bench or a coffee shop or a restaurant, and watch the families together, enjoying the camaraderie and the fellowship, and the kids playing soccer and roller skates, and dog tails wagging, right? And music and dancing and celebrating. It's such a vibrant community of wondrous spiritual beings. Very spiritual here and devoted. Have you noticed that? They're just having a pleasant human experience with one another. And we're right there with them. Wow. And frankly, I have to say, I'm rather disillusioned and dismayed, generally speaking, that many people in the U.S. do not extend that same courtesy when the Hispanics come there. And example, many people in the U.S. expect the Mexicans and Hispanics to learn the English language. Because you're in our country, you learn the language. I'm not going to do that. Whereas here, they go overboard, and most of the stores or restaurants have at least one person who can speak English. They go overboard to try to learn our language so that we don't have to struggle so hard to communicate. That's just beautiful, and I love that. And I'm just noticing things like that. So often in the U.S., the immigrants are not welcomed with open arms. And wouldn't it behoove me and us to treat some at the same courteous acceptance to them as they extend to me when I enter and make myself comfortable in their homeland? Yeah. It reminds me of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 34. It says, "The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt." That's a whole nother metaphysical interpretation talk right there. Yeah. What does that really mean metaphysically? Don't you love that? So the first step in intermingling my soul with the souls of these warm-hearted, friendly people in Mexico is to begin to understand their culture, their ways, their differences, and their similarities. These differences are real. They do exist. And not for everybody, but if you pretend they don't exist, then you are quite liable to be led to misunderstanding, misinterpreting, and even too often or sometimes to offending others. I don't want this for me. Do you want that for you? No, I know you don't, or you wouldn't be here. So as a spiritual being having a human experience, I am called to a higher way of being, higher ground. How about you? Yeah. We have those seeds in us that are always pulling us forward, higher. So, yeah, I have many opinions about how things should be around here, about what's good and what's beautiful and what's not. And each and every one of those opinions is a judgment. And if I truly want to wake up, then I'm going to give away all those opinions, let them go. Good, bad, right, wrong. Why can't I say good? Why can't I say right? Because it's a slippery slope into saying it's bad and wrong. So if I really want to awaken, I'm going to let go of all those opinions. And then we can see that we're not all the same. And yet, in so many ways, we are. Yeah, so appreciating and celebrating both the similarities and the differences. Celebrating them. Talk about celebration. Where are those firecrackers when... And here's the thing that really brings it all home for me. And it's in the first letter of Peter. There we go, firecrackers. Little delayed reaction, but that's Mexico. The thing that really brings it all home for me, and I'm going to close with this, it's in the first letter of Peter. And in that letter, we are encouraged to slowly, soulfully, thoughtfully, most of all, love each other as if your life depended on it. Love makes up for practically anything.